this overtime. So I want to speak to the more on the hidden job market, right? Uh, what platforms should we be hitting? Are we just watching LinkedIn? Are we looking up Dunstan Bradstreet or something when we're looking up doing some research on companies where we want to go to? We can't, sometimes you can't find contact info, or there's large people have large connections, right, on LinkedIn. So they necessarily probably don't even check all their DMs, or they have so much that they never get to it, right? Especially recruiters, right? But there's no email listed. So what do we do? Are we just commenting on their post, and then sometimes they don't post, or post very what are ways we trying to reach someone? So we want somebody to see, and what we're their low accessibility, right? You don't have a contact info email for them. How do you reach these people? How do you get them to see you?
The first thing, like I had mentioned earlier, is that there are 1.2 to 1.5 billion people on LinkedIn. 300 million are in the United States. 25% of those individuals are active on LinkedIn. So, becoming active on LinkedIn, liking, posting, sharing, commenting are ways to gain more exposure. Now, if you see and you can put notifications and alerts on LinkedIn for different job postings. And this has worked for a good number of my clients. If they see a job posting, they fill out their application, they tailor their resume to meet that job posting. And then what I recommend is reach out to three people. One being a recruiter in the company, two, possible hiring manager that they may find on LinkedIn. Like you said, Duns and Bradstreet, D&B Hoovers. If they do have access, and like my clients through my company, they have access what's called D&B Hoovers, which has contact for a company, and they can build a company list through using D&B Hoovers. If you don't, you can put in a geographic area on LinkedIn, or hey, with the advent of AI now, Chat GPT, Gemini, Claude, and use those applications to also find. Uh, what has worked for my clients is applying online, tailor a resume, and then reach out to three of those people in the company: a recruiter, a possible hiring manager, and then somebody's influential. For instance, if you're in IT and you don't see the CIO, but you find the chief operating officer or the director of operations, reach out and connect with them.
Okay. And when you're shifting gears to you're trying to get in a position or change do a lateral shift, you know, um, what do you do when you're trying to reach out to the person? You're trying to make a virtual call. You're trying to do a virtual meeting with them and be like, you set up a schedule and then see if they have time to set up a meeting with you, and then you have a quick 5-10 minute chat. Is that what you're doing when if they're open to the networking?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, usually if I send an email to somebody, I already make an appointment. So I introduce myself. It's very short. I introduce myself. I ask what I'm looking for. And then at the end, I say, I look forward to speaking with you. I will call you on Tuesday at 10:30, so that if it's an exec and they receive that and I get the gatekeeper, then I say, hey, I already have an appointment with Mr. Jones at 10:30.
Okay. And then for some of your job seekers, do you do direct referrals, or are you doing that for your services where you're matching them straight with the company and then getting them the interview? Do you do any of that?
No, I do not do any of that. I am strictly coaching on the process of using all those things available to them to do that. I firmly believe in the process of, the old saying goes, if I fish for you, I feed you for a day. If I teach you how to fish, I feed you for a lifetime.
Okay. And all right. I mean, I want to see if you have any last minute thoughts. Like, I know the job process is the way it is, right? It's changed a bit, I think. Do you think there's anything outdated in the job process that maybe hiring managers should rethink or maybe, omit now in the job process?
I think what's happening now is they get so inundated, the hiring managers or companies get so inundated with so many applications and resumes, they don't know how to handle it. And what they're doing is ghosting a lot of people. And they're having a tendency to say, hey, why do I need to deal with 200 when I'll use my employees and give them, for instance, when I worked for Booz Allen Hamilton, if I found somebody, I got a referral fee for my paycheck. And referral fees can anywhere be from $500 to $5,000 to find a prospective employer that either stays in the company for 90 days or more. So I think that's the
Okay.
biggest thing. And I see a lot of, with the amount of resumes and applications, I think companies are really getting tired of that volume of applicants.
Okay. And then yeah, I guess that's tough for them to have more options than they can, choose from. On the job seeker, contrary or argument would be, well, maybe close the application before it even gets to that number of, submissions, right? Close the job before it gets to that. But it is what it is. Certain things I would like to change, right? As someone trying to help other job seekers, I also feel like getting a job shouldn't be a job, but that's what it is right now,
Oh,
especially in this job market.
absolutely. I mean, looking for a job is a full-time job.
Yeah. And also maybe the biases. I mean, people get laid off all the time, and that's why are you, out of work for a year, 2 years, 3 years, or something, right? And I just feel like, well, I'm ready to work now, right? Whatever it is, you weren't paying their bills, right? And I just feel like, certain things, I don't think they're red flag. I mean, certain employers think of it, but at this time, it's hard to change those things. But I think there's a lot of skilled people out there getting laid off right now, and there's probably more efficient ways to hire, but I'm not in that hiring space. But I would love to do direct referrals, right? And I do open to work interviews with job seekers. I'm trying to do more of that, get them out there. It's kind of like an open to work post, and I just amplify it.
For veterans,
And
there's a great program. It's called 4Block. They're forblock.com, and it's free of charge to veterans. They can go in and they go through a program, and it's a 12-week session. They learn all about all this stuff about resumes and LinkedIn and networking, and they actually have companies that sponsor them. And a lot of those companies are looking to hire veterans. I mean, USAA is one, Raytheon's another one. If you're in Southern California, Cedar Sinai is another one. Those companies are very good companies, and they can't wait to hire veterans if they have a vacancy in some position.
yes. Um, um, yes, I do remember metrics. I noticed on your profile you were talking about you reducing Navy 40% and the budget. How do people illustrate that on show value, right? Because sometimes there's things that are hard to quantify, right? If you sell units of a car, right? It's like I sold 20 cars, over 4 months or something, right? But if you don't sell or if you don't do something, how do they quantify that? Or how can they show that they're adding value?
And we in the military, when we do our fit reps or evals, we didn't really, we just said what we did. We didn't look at the outcomes. If you're in project management or program management, you have definitive metrics or KPIs, as they call them, key performance indicators. And those basic ones are the number, if you're doing a critical path analysis of the completion of a project, you have 15 milestones. 10 milestones are in the critical path. You complete 10 of 10, so you complete the project maybe 2 months ahead of schedule, and you save $150,000. There are those metrics right there. Because you've completed 10 of 10 of the critical path, that's 100%. You've saved $150,000, and your 2 months, you've reduced the time of the project by 2 months, which maybe if it was 6 months, by 33%. So those are things. But what are the outcome measures if you're in IT? How many, if you're in IT security, how many times have you gotten or defended against cyber attack? Percentage. Never gotten if you've never had a cyber attack where you prevented all those cyber attacks, that's 100% rate. But I say that if you don't have those things, there is always an educated guess of a percentage. And in my experience, going through an interview, nobody has said, prove your percentages. They're going to look at percentages and say, how did you do that? What was the process that you took, or what were the actions that you took using that STAR methodology? What was the situation? What were the tasks? What were the action? And what were the results?
Okay. And one more thing. Things that may work against the candidate, right? Because when they're interviewing, sometimes taking things upon yourself is maybe favorable, oh, that's leadership qualities, or no, we have a way of doing things. This is the way we want to do it, right? How do you navigate that in an interview?
You know what? They have to, the one way to really shut people off is bad mouth a previous employer. If they ask you why you got laid off or why you're looking for a job, you know what? Keep it short and simple. And in today's environment, with all the layoffs, downsizing, right sizing, reduction in force, you can use all those and not get into the nitty gritty. A lot of people have a tendency in talking too much. Just, the old, I'm going to date myself on Dragnet with Joe Friday, just the fact. So, and that's where the STAR process comes into play. And then some questions are just yes and no.
Okay. All right. You have any final thoughts that we and then just refer back how they can reach you, and yeah, any events you're going out to, any conventions where they can see you this year, anything like that.
No, you know what? Look at my LinkedIn profile. I'm always willing to have a Friday morning coffee. My contact information, my email's there. Actually, it's front and back with coffee cups. So if you want to jump on a coffee call, we can do that. A lot of veterans. I did a survey on LinkedIn for veterans, and most veterans have less than 100 and 200 LinkedIn connections. The gold standard for LinkedIn is 500 to maximize the depth and breadth of a search. So if you're 1 year away from retirement or transitioning, start building up your network in the area that you want to work in. And if you
Okay.
want some, and for veterans, if you want some advice, hey, there's my email that's on, all my contact information is on my LinkedIn profile, Threat Coach, and give me a call, send me an email.
And you wrote a book too, correct?
No, I'm in the process of writing one. I have published on like 3 separate occasions for other different subjects.
Okay, like Medium or
Written a bunch of different articles. I was published for organizational.
okay, all right. Yeah, okay. I'll definitely check that out. Once again, this is Sean with Sean's Tech Blog. And I'm going to be sending out some promos. So please join and subscribe. Please reach out to Gary Rossi if you're a job seeker, right? Looking for work. He does pro bono and for first 1 or 2 calls, and for vets, essentially he helps with veterans, and let's get you a job out there. I'm trying to grow my channel, and I want to put a shameless plug. My book, Sean's Tech Blog, The Long Way into Tech Path, Long Path into Tech, was published St. Patrick's Day. Please check it out. It's on Kindle, Amazon. And again, I'm Sean's Tech Blog. I do open to work interviews with interviewees, job seekers, and then I reach out to guest speakers from tech, cybersecurity, gaming, and career advising. Thank you, Gary Rossi, for joining me. Appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing more of your posts and content.
Thank you.